Okay, today's probably going to be a small class. I think this week we've had a pretty small class, and that's okay. That means that we get to go through it, and if you got questions, we definitely get to get them answered. And if we get through quickly, then that's great. And if we are here for the full 2 hours, that's awesome too. So we're going to get started. My name is Jerry Trickey. I'm the Market Center Tech Trainer in Chesapeake, in the Chesapeake or the Coastal Virginia Chesapeake office down in Hampton Roads. I've been a realtor for 7 years. I am in production. I've been a 3-time ALC, and then about almost 2.5 years ago, I took over as the MCTT, and have enjoyed doing that. It's been an interesting journey. Command has been an interesting journey, but what I love about it is we're at the point now that it can actually build your businesses, help you build whatever size business you want. You can build a massive team, or you can just be a single agent like myself. My goal is 20, 25 houses a year, and this is everything that you need is right here in this system. So hopefully this week has been beneficial to this point, and today we're going to go over opportunities. I hope that it's beneficial to you as well, because this is where you get paid. So this is the one, if any, that you're going to want to absolutely be a part of and know what's going on. So as we get started here, I do appreciate most of you have your screens on. For the couple of you that don't have your video turned on, please do so. It's just like if you were in a classroom, I would hope that you be sitting facing forward and not have your back to me, because having your screen off means that it's just like having your back to me. So appreciate everybody doing that. As we get started, like I said, we're going to go into opportunities today, but I want to take a second to step backwards and see, do you have any questions from yesterday? Did you get to play around? I think yesterday was designs and campaigns. Is that correct? Okay. Did you have any questions or did you play with it at all after class and something was an aha for you?
I have one question.
Okay.
Because I missed the class yesterday, and unfortunately my schedule, it's like a little different from the class schedule, and I love to see the videos of the class of the classes. So in my case, since I missed it yesterday, where exactly I can find it, because I missed this information.
I got you. I'm not sure if they will send it out afterwards, but let me give you this right now. I can tell you that I can show you right where it's going to be. I think this is it. I'll put this in the chat for you guys. Yeah, here under the, let me go to this one. Okay. So where are we at here? I'm chat. Okay. And everybody, there's a YouTube channel right there that I just put in chat. That will have, if they're not, and they've already started putting a couple of them in. They've got Monday and Tuesday. Doesn't look like they have Wednesday in there yet, but they will get it in there. They put all the videos that we do during the week in there, so you can go back. And I'm recording this one right now. They'll get that one transferred over as well. So that YouTube channel will be something that I would bookmark, and you guys down the road, even, I mean, is it Lilia? Is that correct? Yes. Since you missed it, you can go watch the whole class. And for the others, if you were there and something just you don't remember it specifically and you want to go rewind, you can go back to it right there.
Thank you. And I'm sorry for losing everyone's time, because
that's okay. We'll have time. I'm efficient. We'll have time today. So no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about anything else from yesterday or anything? Okay. If not, then cool. We're going to go ahead and jump in. Let me share my screen. Okay, somebody give me a thumbs up or shake your head. Yes, you can see a screen. Now you can see my command screen. Yes, thank you. Okay, it's always good to know. I can see it. I just want to make sure you guys can. So we're going to jump in and we're going to start talking a little bit about command, or I'm sorry, about opportunities in command. Let me ask you this though, before I go into the opportunity section. When do you create an opportunity?
After you put a contact in.
Okay, yes, that's so as soon as you put a contact in, you're creating an opportunity for them. That's a great answer. I love it. I like to think of it this way. If you've had a conversation about buying or selling or investing in real estate, then the person that, if you're putting that contact in, it's worth having an opportunity. You do not have to wait until you get to the point that you have a contract. You don't have to wait until you're, a week out from listing or whatever. It's once you've had a conversation about real estate, go ahead and get that opportunity in there, because this will turn into your digital whiteboard. You might actually have, like I do, I've got a whiteboard up here that I have beside my desk to track my business. And I love having that, but that doesn't go with me to the office. That isn't with me at Starbucks. I want something that I can be able to see on a daily basis. And so the more that I know about my clients and potential clients, the more that I can service them the right way. So having an opportunity created as soon as they have spoke to you in any way, shape, or form about the fact that they'd like to buy, sell, or invest sometime in, whether it's near future or even down the road, and we'll talk about that in a minute about how you'd set it up, then it's worth going ahead and getting your opportunity created. So as we know, we can hit this red KW and it'll pop out the names on and be able to see what the applets are called, or you can hover over them. We'll come down here to opportunities. Has everybody taken a look at opportunities? Have you been in the opportunity section yet? You looked around a little bit. Okay, it looks like most of you. So in here, you've got I'm set up as a solo person team. I'm going to show you this one. This is my personal. So in here, you're going to have a few different sections. You're going to be able to see your listings. You're going to see your buyers. If you have leases, then those would go here. And then you can see some of your activity. You can see what's going on for your listing and buyer sides, your activity over the past 12 months, as far as your opportunities go. And then you can do it breakdown just by listings and buyers, and then on the rental side. If you have any closing sets, I have not changed mine. I think that'll change it when I change the date in a minute. I've got one that'll happen this week that was from last month that got pushed back. So if you do have one that's set, then it'll go there. But this is your kind of quick at a glance what you've got going on. You can see that we've got 5 different stages. Okay. And then within that, I'm sorry, these are stages, and then you got the phases within it. You're going to be able to move these along, and that's your goal is, for you to be able to get paid. You can kind of tell it's cultivate. You're meeting people, you're getting to know them a little bit, then you get them put in and they've got an appointment set, an appointment kept, and then at some point they're turning into an active, and then you get them to the under contract phase, and then obviously we want to get them to the closed phase. And that's what this does, is it kind of helps you see where you're at, pushing them along. Okay, so let's I think one thing that we can do is we're going to go ahead and jump in. I'm going to show you one that I have, and we'll just go ahead and talk a little bit about how actually, let's just go ahead and create one. Let's just start one from the beginning. So if you're going to create an opportunity, most everything in Command is upper right hand corner. The teal button is going to be the create. If you're on a team, you can select what your team is. If you have multiple market centers, some of you guys up in Northern Virginia, you might be Virginia and DC and Maryland. I mean, you could have all 3 states, and you might have different market centers. If you do have different market center, some of ours down here in Hampton Roads, we have Virginia and North Carolina, because we're 20 minutes from the border here. So you pick your market center. You're going to pick your type. I'm gonna make this a listing. You're gonna pick a client. If it used to be that you had to have your contact put in, but now you should be able to type in. So I'm gonna do Jerry test contact. I don't have that. So now I can create that as a new contact. So even if you haven't put the contact in yet, you can make it now right here in the opportunity. If you've already got them as a contact, that's great, and it's a step ahead. But now, in case you've done some in the past, if any of you are not brand new, you can make it within the opportunity itself. So now this is going to have a brand new contact for me. It's called Jerry Test Contact. Now I got to put in an email, and I'm just going to put test@test2.com, and a phone number I'm just going to leave blank. You cannot have the same email address or phone number. It will not let you put in a duplicate. That's why I had to put in a fake email there, because I've got several already. When you come down here, you're going to name it. I would suggest this. Talk to your market center administrator, your MCA. Ask them how they want your opportunities to be named. Okay. Most of them probably would like it. If it's a listing, they want the address. So they want 123 Main Street, Chesapeake. And then you can put the name if you want in the listing. This other stuff is all, ancillary to it. But ask them for sure. You got to think of it this way. You guys are going to have one opportunity, maybe 2 or 3 at a time, that you're not going to have a ton at one time that you're making. They have the whole office. So like my office has about 200 agents. So if on any given day they go into the back end and they're looking at opportunities from a compliance standpoint, they may have dozens of new opportunities they have to sift through, depending how busy the office is. For them, having a random name of someone that they don't know, it doesn't do anything. They need to have an address to be able to do their business. So check with your MCA and make sure that you're naming it the way that they would like it to be. I think just putting in address would probably be what they would mostly want, but you can double check with them.
Jerry,
Yes.
Since I'm at your office, is like for the address, would that be if you're listing? Well, I guess that one is a listing, but would you still put a address for the buyers?
So that's a great question. And that is something you do have to think a little bit about in terms of whether it's a buyer or seller. In a buyer, if I'm making an opportunity for them, I'm probably at the point where I don't know the address that they're going to buy when I'm making it. So I would just put their names at that time. You can edit this later before you submit it. So this could be for either way, a listing or a buyer. Let's say you have somebody that you've talked to and they would like to do, some kind of real estate deal with you down the road. Could be listing or it could be a buy side. You may not know their address yet that they're going to sell. So when you make the opportunity, you might just make it as John and Samantha. Okay. You might just put their names before you move it into active and I'll show you where all these stages are, but before you move it into active, that's when you'll want to put the address on it. Okay. And if you do have a buyer side, to answer your question a little more directly, if you have the buyer side, it doesn't hurt to put the address at all. You can definitely do that because they're not going to know your clients' names. They're going to be looking for addresses to connect to what's coming, from title, as far as, when commissions are coming in, what paperwork do they have to match it up to? They need addresses more than names. But good question. Next thing, you can put in custom tags. So if you want to tag your, and I'll show you where these show up, it makes it real quick and easy for you to see some things that I do, like maybe where I got it from. If I had it as a networking referral or an agent referral, I might put in my title company, what type of loan it is, if it, which mortgage lender it is, These are some other referral sources that they come from, some referral agents. You can put in anything you want here. It just will help you kind of see, let's say that if I want, I'm going to have them close with Alperin Law, and let's say it was a referral from my agent down in Atlanta. Okay, so if that was the case, then I would put these tags on here, and I would be able to quickly look at the opportunity and know what that opportunity was all about. Now, if you're making the opportunity and you've just started talking with them, I think Laura was the one that mentioned that as soon as we have a contact in our database, we can go ahead and create an opportunity. You may not have a close date. That's okay. Just leave it blank. If you do know when they're expected to close, like if you just started working with this, say you get a buyer as a referral and you're creating an opportunity and they know that their current lease is up in November, well, then you might put, November 30th expected close date, because you expect that they're going to be closed before their lease is up. But if not, just leave it blank. Same with time frame. This is to help you more than anything. How far out are they going to be? If you know, put it in there. If you don't, that's okay. Same with the price. And I'll show you what the price does in a second, or how that can help you with your tracking anyways. Commission rate, for some reason, we have to put one in here. Put your normal commission rate. It's up to you. We obviously, we're not colluding. We're not out here talking, to everybody about rates and standards and this and that. But each of us personally have what we go by, what our business typically sees. So if yours is typically 3%, great. If it's 2.5%, great. If it's 2%, great. If it's 4%, great. You put in what's best for you. And then you can put the phase and the stage that it's in. Okay. And if this is somebody that is going to have a listing at some point down the road, that I'm just talking to them right now, then I'd leave them in Cultivate, and then we'll show you how to set name yours to have a different naming convention if you want, so that it's you can see where they go a little bit easier. I'll show you that in a second. Apparently I already used that email address. See, I don't know if you guys saw that. It says it already has this email address, so it will not let you create it. So you cannot duplicate it. So I've already made a test one, so I'm going to do just test 3, and then that'll just, I'm just putting up placeholders, all I'm doing for this one. So now this has created our opportunity, and you can kind of see, where we're at. We've got the name of it here. This is the contact. If it was live in the MLS, so if it's live in your MLS, then you should go ahead and select this from the listings, so it will tie the MLS listing directly to it. Okay, that will help you in some marketing pieces. It'll help the office as well in making sure that everything's getting connected to the right place. Okay, and you can see the information here. Now you've got a little bit more info that we didn't have, and you can come in here and edit this if you want, and it'll help you with some of your numbers tracking. If you start this from the beginning of the year, it really can be very cool to be able to see where you're at in terms of your goals. Because in the report section, you can go in and set your goals for the year. So maybe you've got a goal of 20 homes to sell, and you can work with your team leader or your agent services person, your MCA, to be able to go through goal setting class, and you'll be able to figure out if you got 20 units you want to do, you need to have X amount of appointments, and you need to have X amount of conversations to get that many appointments, and so on. When you come in here, you can put the dates for those things. So you can put, like, the appointment was scheduled on, October 6th. Appointment was held on October 6th. Can't see it yet. There we go. You got the job on October 6th, let's say. Contract date is going to be, we're going to list on October 28th. And then when you have a close date, that'll get added later. If you track these, then it will show up in your report section. and you'll be able to see where you're at in terms of, okay, I'm supposed to have 20 closings this year. And to do that, I need to have this many under contracts. I need to have this many appointments that I have taken. And then I had to have this many leads. And it will fill all those things in for you if you come in here and add them. And so you just come in after the fact and add these things.
Hey, Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Anthony in Falls Church. So on this one, I saw you put in agreement date versus contract date. Is the agreement date like the buyer broker agreement and the listing agreement?
Correct.
And then the contract date is when I have a contract going on a property, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's a great distinction. Yes. So the agreement would be your agreement with the client. So that would be either a buyer broker or a listing. And then the contract date would be, when you're ratified, and then your close date would be when your expected close date is. It will change your close date, even if you don't, like, my closing tomorrow was supposed to be last week. And so that's why I don't have any showing for October, because it was supposed to be in September. Well, when I go in to finish this file, it will move it'll move that date for me. So that's a great distinction. Good question. Okay. You can come in here and you can put in the property info as well if it's not already been done. Typically, that will be linked from here. So once you connect it, it's going to put this in here for you. And then you've got a seller worksheet that you can run off of here if you want to. I typically use my title company's seller worksheet to be able to do anything with that, just because I want to get them exposed to my title company as soon as I can. Obviously, I don't tell my clients you have to use this person, you have to use that person. But the more that you expose them to people that are going to put them in a good winning situation and are going to be successful for your transaction, the more likely they are to work with them.
Can you unpack that a little bit more? What do you mean you connect them with your title company?
So for me, the way that I do things, I don't tell people they have to use a certain title company. I don't think we can actually. I don't think we can require them to use a specific title company. I could be wrong on that, but that was my understanding. But I can let them know, hey, I've typically used this. I've got a lawyer that I typically use. I've used this lawyer for a few years. They do a great job with it. If you want to use them, I'd be glad to. If you've got somebody that you want to choose, and I have actually earlier this year, I think it was in April, we had a closing that she's a friend of mine from a business networking group. They were moving to Arkansas. I was selling their house. She already had a title person from another networking group that she was in. And so she's like, no, I don't want to use yours. I've got my own. Okay, that's cool. But because of the fact that I'm using the net seller sheet from my lawyer's office, or I do have another title company that I use occasionally, if I'm using theirs, that gives me a way to introduce them early on. And then from there, it's still their choice.
I'm sorry, I'm a little dense this morning. So you're using their sheet. Are you like sending that to them, or are you using that sheet to fill this out?
Oh, okay, gotcha. Great question. No, I'm just sending them their sheet. I'm basically not filling this part out. That's just me. You definitely can, and if you don't have a title company and you want to be able to show them stuff, you can be able to do this here.
And one last thing, so that's why you put Alperin Law, because that's the title company you've
correct.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. All right, got it. Okay.
Yep. This is just going to be, and I'll show you, it'll be a little bit more, there's a condensed version when we go back into the listings itself, where it shows everybody's or all of the opportunities for listings. And it will show on there the tags. And that just gives me a quick reference guide to know who's working with what, because you might get multiple deals at one time, and you want to know, okay, this, like back in the spring, that person wanted to use a different title company than I'm used to. it's better for me to have a quick reference so that I can remember I got to deal with this person over at this place instead of my normal person at this place. So that's all that's for.
I have a
Then-
question.
Yeah.
So this is like doing your whole transaction. So kind of like, right? So it's following your transaction from start to finish.
Mhm.
Is that's what,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, and we will be, and that's where I was just going to go. Is I was going to just start going down these tabs here. Your whole transaction. This one might be like, say this opportunity is for somebody that is they're not going to list with me until after the first of the year, let's say. So I might make this opportunity now. It's going to sit in the opportunities area, which I'll show you in a few minutes. And it'll just stay there until we're ready to go active. And then it gets moved to the active area. And then at that point, there's things in here that are more useful because this real quick seller profile, this is just going to tell you whether somebody's already tied to your app, your KW app. If they're not, then you can obviously send them your app and then you can let them register and it'll tie into them. But what I was just saying a second ago is as I get to the point, if I've already got this listing live on the MLS now, so say it's January 3rd and now, or January 3rd would be a Tuesday. So maybe we list that day. Now my listing's live and I come in here and I connect it. All of a sudden I've got different ads that are going to pop up in here that are going to be able to show. This would give me some things that I can do marketing wise. It's just not like a little nudge, like, hey, you're now active. You now have an actual address tied to this. Here's some things you can do. And let me just show you real quick. So this one, that's a test one. Let me go here. This one's live. So this one's actually live. It's got the address tied to it. It put this in here for me. Now in my marketing, it's given me some things. So now I'm in the under contract phase. So now it's given me some social media designs that I can do that will be tied directly to this. And then it's also got a couple of, a recommended social media ad that you can just click on and it will already be made for you. So it's giving you recommendations of some social media stuff, some marketing stuff based on the fact that you're now live and you've connected it. Okay, does that help? Awesome. So in here, this will take you back to yesterday with your designs. So if you were to come in here, you can create a design. If you click on one of these under contracts, it will go in and then it will actually be that under contract design, and you'll have the MLS tied to it so you can drag your pictures right over. You don't have to import anything. It's already got your whole MLS right in here. Once you've connected this right here, anytime you're trying to make something from within here, it's already in here. And that makes it easier not having to go to a whole nother platform or another website. So I'll just show you real quick. We're going to jump back in a second to the test one, but this is my documents area. So this is where I have to put, as Laura was asking, this is kind of like from start to finish. This is where we put our whole transaction. Our details are up here. That's just the info from when we started. You've got some marketing stuff. If you want to use it, that's great. Now the document stuff you have to use, because this is what your office is going to base all their compliance checks on. Okay. So for you to stay out of real estate jail and for your office to not end up getting fined as well, they need to make sure you've got everything in here and it's in the right order. Now, each office is going to be a little different. They might have a different layout in terms, but the general gist is it's going to tell you what document it is. It's going to tell you whether it's required or conditional. And if it's conditional, you can hover over the little I for information. and you can see. So like our AQs for noise and military air installations, that's only required in 5 of the cities. If you're in Suffolk or Portsmouth, it's not required. Actually, it's 4 of the cities, because Newport News is also not required. Lead-based paint, if it's prior 1978, it's required. If it's not, it's not. You don't need it. So you just put in the ones. They might have some optional ones for your office. They could do that, but you just put in the ones that are required or that yours hit as a condition, and you're going to upload them here, and then you're going to submit it. They're going to check it out. If something's wrong, it'll be sent back to you. If something's sent back to you, you'll get a little up here in this little bell. There'll be a little red dot, and you can click on it and it'll have your notifications. I highly, highly, highly suggest, in addition to that, on your phone, if you didn't already on day one, download the KW Command app. So it's not the app that you give to your clients that's got the maps and they can search for homes. There's a second app, and it's for us. It's internal use. It's, if you don't have it already, you can go to your phone and search in your store for KW:\command. It will be the red app with the white lettering. Okay. And in there, you can have your notifications turned on that app. I love it, because every time my compliance does anything in here on the actual computer, I get a notice on my phone, and it's instantaneous. So that way I know, oh shit, I forgot to add that document, or what are they talking about? I did that. I need to reach out to them and show them what I did right. So it's great to have that on your phone. And you want to be able to, put this stuff in, because this is what you need. You need it to be approved, and you get approved. Now, let me jump back. I just want to show you, because this is where it's a little, let's find that test. 123 Main Street. Okay. So as we get ready as we get to that point, I want to show you how we kind of move things around. You've got 5 stages here. That's going to always be the case. You cannot change those. But if you're looking at your opportunities right now, yours probably does not say pipeline to watch, active pipeline in 2023. Yours probably says something else. You might even have 4 columns. There might be another column there.
Hey, Jerry, I'm sorry.
change-
Where are you finding where's this screen found that you're on right now?
Yep, no problem. Absolutely. So if I'm on my main opportunities page,
Yeah.
what I did was I clicked into Cultivate. Did you find that?
I'm looking. Ah, okay.
Yep. You just click right on the little circle right underneath so in listings, you got Cultivate, appointment active,
Yeah.
under contract closed. Click on
Mine's
the little
empty.
circle under
What
it.
happened?
What's that?
Mine's empty.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right?
You're a lot
that's
busier than I am. What's going on here?
That's the job here.
Hey.
Did anybody tell you that your only job right now is lead generation?
Got it, man.
That's
Yes.
I didn't know that the first 4 or 5 months. That I thought I was here to sell houses, and then all of a sudden it snapped, and I learned I'm here to actually lead generate. So
Got it. Thanks.
yeah, good point. Good point, Anthony. So in here, you've got your 5 stages, cannot change, but your phases, you can put them to whatever way it works best for you. I like this, where I've got a pipeline to watch, my active pipeline, and then a 2023 for like longer term. Okay. You can leave it the way it is, that was automatically set there, or you can change these yourself. You just click up here in this edit stages. And now these stages, you can just click on the pencil and name it whatever you want. Maybe it's like, 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months. And then maybe you have a 4th column that's for more than a year. It's up to you. The point here is make it so that you actually will use this. Okay, so whatever way you want to do it, for me to use it best, this is the way that I like it. Okay.
Okay,
Excuse me.
so, yeah, I have a question
Go
because
for it.
I think I did something wrong way back in setting up
Okay.
the opportunity.
Okay.
And I think it's because, for example, I have a client that she's not going to buy like for 8 months.
Mhm.
So I think I checked lead, but that's not really a lead, correct?
There's debate on that. Uh, there's debate on, I mean, there's different ways to look at it. A lead to me would be somebody that came in that I have not yet been able to convert to know that they're going to be a client.
Right, okay.
So maybe a lead would be someone that comes in off my sponsored Facebook ad.
Okay, gotcha.
They're
So-
Go ahead.
Right, so then that's more like I'm cultivating this person, right? Getting
That's
them,
okay.
getting them to the place. So I should change that to, because they came from my sphere of influence.
Mhm.
You know,
So,
I add a little something on this one. Your whole database is contacts. They're just people that you know.
Mhm.
Someone says that you get something from someone, it's a referral, that's a lead. And then when you have a discussion with them and now you know you might be doing something with them, they're a prospect.
Mhm.
Once they sign something up with you, they're a client.
all right, so now.
That's kind of how I flow it.
Prospect then, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very
And that's just it. There's going to be a little. Here's the thing. Whatever works for you works for you.
Right.
I mean, I agree with Anthony. I agree with the way that he laid that out. I do think that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
it does.
but if you've got a way that makes sense to you, then you know what? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then change it. Make it work. You know, fine.
Right.
It's just like we fail forward a lot. So there's nothing wrong with marking that person as a lead. My thought would be this: whether they're a lead or a prospect, your goal is always going to be to get them into this active stage where
Right,
they're actually a client. Okay. So whether they're lead or prospect, if they're in these first two, the cultivate and appointment, that's why I from the beginning, I said, I've got my whiteboard up here, but this on the screen is my digital whiteboard. My goal is to get Eloise moved from pipeline, or I'm sorry, to the pipeline to watch, to either into the active pipeline where I know that we're talking and things are coming along, and then we have an appointment, and my goal is to get her into the active. So now what are my actions that I'm doing each day and each week that might affect her and get her so that I can move her along? Okay. And when
right.
that happens, what we're doing here is we're literally grabbing this and moving her along. So we might move her from, pipeline to watch to active, or I might move her into the appointment phase. And so I'm going to put her up here, and now she's going to disappear and go into the appointment phase.
Right.
Okay. And now I've got her scheduled, and this is the way I set mine. I've got scheduled, kept, and pre-listing. Okay. So if I've got her, I'm going to put her back where she's at. Let's use these as an example. Ken and Susan, I've got them scheduled. Okay. Kenny and Tori, I've got them scheduled. We're a couple months away. We know where we're at on things. We know their situation. They're scheduled for now. Now we got to get to that point that's been kept. With Yvette and Pat, I've had that appointment already. They're
Mhm.
not ready to pull the trigger.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now these guys, Iskren right here, he's ready to go with this listing. It's a matter of he's got to get the house in Atlanta that he's going to buy. And that's been the problem. So, we've done all of these things. My job is if I get them into cultivate, now it's like, this test one that I just made, my job is to get them moved along to the point that they're active.
Okay.
Okay. And so whatever you call them in the meantime, whether it's a lead or a prospect, just be consistent
Right.
and use what's best for you. But that, what Anthony mentioned, those were the ways that I would look at it in general and that I've heard it the most.
Right.
Okay. So again, each of these phases inside here, you can put many or few, name them whatever works best for you. You just go up here again, come into the phase or into the stage, and then the phases, you can name them. Maybe you want to rearrange them. You know, maybe I want pre-listing to be first. So I just move it and now pre-listing is first.
Mhm.
If I prefer that to be at the end, you just grab this little slider thing and then rearrange it, and now it's done. And I come back here and now I've got these. And you could see, and Anthony, when we were talking about those tags earlier, this is what I was showing, is those tags show up here on the front when you've got your little this little opportunity card itself. That way, when I'm in here, if I've got 3 active, you know, at that point, like last month, I had 3 listings active. If I'm looking at those 3 listings all at one time, and I've got the tags in here, I can quickly determine which one, you know, has a different need. Whether
And
it's
Peggy is the one that referred that to you?
that's who, yeah, that's my referral agent in Atlanta.
Oh, got it.
Yep, yep. And if I've got it I do a lot of referrals with BNI in my networking group here, and so I might only just put BNI. I may also put the person there. It just depends. But when it's a referral agent and I know I'm giving away money, then I want to make sure I know who that's to. When it's a referral from a friend or sphere, or in this case, I get a lot, like I said, business referrals. Those aren't money going out. I get the 100% of the commission. So I might just put that it's BNI versus the person. But this way, this is also a reminder that I have to make sure my office pays them, because they're going to come after me if they don't, and rightfully so.
Right.
Okay. I'm just looking through things. Okay, so you can move these things along. Something else you can see on here, this client updates. Okay, and then this little 0 of 5. This is your checklist. I love checklists. I think these are great in here. So what I would suggest is this: you always come in and turn on your client update. So it says on. Okay. Now to do that, you have to, it's going to automatically be in the off position. But to do that, you have to go into the opportunity and you have to go to the client updates and you have to turn it on. So it'll originally be off. But you turn it on, you can set whatever time you want. You can add in whoever you want to be sent, the email to be sent to. You can add the contacts if you want to add other people to it to be able to get it. But what this is going to do, the checklist that I'm about to show you and that you can set up for yourself, when you go in and you mark it off, so say you marked off 3 things from yesterday, then this morning at 7 a.m., whoever's on this list is going to get an automated email sent to them saying that you did those 3 things. That's a really good way to stay in touch with your client. And if you've got experience, if you're not a brand new agent and you've been through a few deals where on the buyer side, let's say you get through you get the contract ratified, and now you've got your inspection done, and now you've done your PICRA, and you still got 3 weeks or 4 weeks till closing. Doesn't it feel sometimes like, I mean, they feel like you ghosted them sometimes, because you went from talking to them every day, hey, let's rush out and see this house, let's go get this done, let's sign these documents, let's do this inspection. You're doing all this stuff for however long, and then all of a sudden it comes to a screeching halt for 3 weeks. If you come into your checklist and you've got a weekly item or two that you put on there, and then you just check it. Well, if nothing else, this is at least going to update them once or twice a week. If you're on the listing side, you can use it for anything. I use it, and I'll show you in a second. I put pre-listing stuff, like set up the photo day, do the photo day, create mailers, send mailers. I put a lot of my marketing stuff behind me for them, my client, my listing clients, for them to see, because, and if you haven't done a listing yet, you'll come across one at some point where they might be like, why am I paying you so much? What are you doing? They think we sometimes we make it look too easy. Sometimes we don't show them all that we have to do to earn our money. Okay. And don't get me wrong, we earn really good money, but we also need to promote ourselves to our clients as to why we're earning that and how we're earning that. And this will let you do that in a little simpler way.
You said it's saying send daily progress. Is that, I'm sorry. So it's saying send, it's not going to just start sending stuff to them.
No.
Okay.
No.
But as I click off something, it's going to send them something.
And it's actually correct. Yes. And it's actually a step farther than that, because you have to click something saying that you did it, and you have to mark a box that says, yes, it's supposed to send that as an email. Okay. So they won't just randomly get emails, and you can use your checklist in here and not send that them. It could just be your personal checklist that they would never see. It both is in here. So I'll show you that. Let's jump into that real quick. Let me actually, before I do that, just so you can see it, this is a preview of what it looks like. Okay, so mine would have my logo up here and my information and my photo. So whatever is set up in your marketing profile in Command, it's not just some general thing that it just pulls out of the air. It's whatever you set up in your marketing profile in Command already. It's going to have this at the header. It's going to have the client name. Every time it sends this email, it's going to say, we're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of tasks completed for, and then it's going to have the address. And then this list is what you actually write in your checklist. Okay. And then it'll have by your side at every step, and then say my name, my picture, and then it's got my info and my office info, the footer stuff. Okay. It's not going to be, you can't change this other than whatever you wrote as your checklist item. And it's going to send only when you tell it to, and it's going to send only the items. So if I check off 9 items on one day, if I only want 4 of them to go, well, then I pick those 4 to be emailed, and that's the only 4 that go.
4 emails or 1 in 1 email?
All right here, all in one email.
Okay.
Yep. Now you could do, depending on how needy your client is, because we know every client has a different need level, different hand holding level. If they need to see something from you more often, well, if it was me, I'd probably check 2 items off on Monday and then 2 items off on Wednesday, and that way they can get 2 emails. But that's if they're that needy that they need to see a lot going on. If they're not needy and you just want to update them, then on Monday, if I did 4 things, I would just go ahead and put all 4 in one. Tuesday morning, they get this email and they're in good shape. Okay. It's a really good way to communicate with your clients about what's going on in their transaction. I've had very good success with my clients with it. So let's take a look at the types of things and the way that you put in your checklists. So let's go here. I'm going to go back into my, actually, I'm going to do under contract or active first. And you have this for every stage. Each stage will have its own checklists. Okay. So you can come in to cultivate and make a checklist, and you just go up to these edit stages and you can see each one of these can have their own checklist. So right now I've only got 5 items in my pipeline to watch. And that's regular marketing to stay in front of them, watch social media, post relevant articles onto social media and tag a client, send occasional mailer with handwritten note, invite potential client to a client event or open house that you're holding, or some way to get in front of them. These are all generic things. I would never send this to them in an email. This is just reminders for me to do stuff. So I could come in here on the individual opportunity and mark it off. What this is doing is this is making it so that every opportunity is going to have this checklist on it if I do it here in the main area. So let me show you where that was again. I went up, I'm on my cultivate. If I go to the edit stages and I do my checklist there, all of these will have those. Everyone that from this point forward, they will have it. If I just go into the individual, like this opportunity card, I can also change it and make it just for that opportunity only. Okay. And you can do, and you do this by stage. So, excuse me. So in this stage, I have 3 phases. If I go up here to edit stages, well, now in each phase, I can have my own checklist. At the beginning, I may not, in the cultivate, I may not have as many things because that's, everybody's gonna be different. How are you meeting people? How are you talking to them? Where are they at in their process? You're gonna have to kind of feel some of that out. There will be some things you do for everybody, but there's gonna be a lot that you're gonna do based on where they're at in their situation. Okay.
And do those lists, once you get someone in there, do they show up automatically in your task on the command homepage?
Great question. So if I am in here, I can come over here and set a due date. And yes, that would show up as a task on that date. So if I don't set a due date, then no, it would not show up as a task. It would just be something that's in my checklist that I should do at some point because there's not a date associated with it. But anytime in command, if you've got an opportunity to set a date for it, then that date would be task related and it would be able to show up in your tasks on your homepage and in your task area.
Question.
Go for it, Laura.
Okay, so I'm in cultivate. I hit edit stage.
Okay.
I don't see, is it probability checklist that I'm?
Yeah,
'Cause
probability is
checklist-
probability is one column. And I'll be honest with you, probability, I don't personally think it should be in here. This is somebody that, there's a difference between me and you using this and the people who designed it and built it, the tech guys.
All right.
And I've worked with them. I'm not these guys at KW, but I've worked with tech guys at other companies that I've worked at in the past before I got in real estate. And they don't look at things the way we do because they're not using it like we do.
Right.
So for me personally, if you want to use this, I'll show you how in a minute you can use this, but I don't.
Because it doesn't allow me to click on checklist because it's like I can't click on either one of them. So do I have to say add a stage first or?
Well, do you have any stages here?
It says watch, hot, nurture.
Okay. And when you come over, does it say 0, 0 or?
Yes.
Okay, so can you click on the 0//0? That's where you should be able to click on.
And checklist, cultivate, and then add the item.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So you've got this one is you know, this one's one of my phases. You have a different name for it.
Right.
Or stage name, yeah. So you have a different name for it. But when you come here under checklist where it says 0/0, that's
Yes.
where you click on it. And now for that cultivate active pipeline, if I want to add an item, I could say, you know, follow up with weekly call. Maybe that's what I want it to be.
Mhm.
And I save that. Now, once I've done it, instead of 0 of 0, now I've got 0 of 1.
Right.
Okay. And so I can put in as many checklist items as I want. And at this point, since I'm doing it here, any opportunity that I make going forward from now, so the ones that are already made it will not add them to them. But any opportunity going forward of now will automatically have one item in the checklist when they get put into active pipeline. Okay. So we do that here, and we do that throughout any of them. So like if I go to my active, in the listing goes live, I've got 12 steps already. Okay. Let's see, how many do I have? So 2 to 4 weeks, 5 to 10 weeks. I created this since we've been in COVID. We're just now getting to 2 weeks of stuff being on staying on market. So I haven't even added anything into these yet, because back in 2019, if I'd have made this, if this was live then, I would have had items to put in here. We haven't had homes lasting more than 2 weeks for a couple of years now. So we're getting back to that. It's definitely happening now. So I need to probably go in and find some things that I need to do. When I go live, here's just some things that you might put in there. You know, as I'm going live, I've got my photo shoot. Marketing mailers are ordered. Send marketing mailers to 200 homes. Have a standalone landing page. Facebook ad created and made live. Open house scheduled. Open house held. Just listed cards were mailed. Under contract cards were mailed. Send new listing info to full database. Send listing info to all the agents in my network. Submit my listing paperwork. Anything that you do, and for you new agents, the first time you go through a deal, okay, everything that you do, you should be writing down. So like if you had to make an ad, or you had to, do something, to get your paperwork together, you had to go, you had to get your EMD. Don't forget to get the EMD. Anything that you do, make a list of it as you're going. Because here's the thing, and I had this happen to me, when you first start, if you go and you have a deal, 2 or 3 months in, you've got a deal, you may focus so much on that deal that now you didn't lead generate during it. Now you got to start over and lead generate and find somebody else. By the time you get that next deal, it might be another 2 months down the road. And now you forgot what you did the first time. So write it down to really give yourself a chance to succeed every time. And then once you've written it down, you can come in and you can add these to each of the stages that make sense. Okay. I'm gonna just real quick jump over to my buyer side, because I've got a few more things in here. In my stage, it's under contract stage, I think. Yeah, so like in my under contract stage for buyers, I only have 2 phases. One's inspections and one's financing. Okay. I've got a ton of items in here. So like when I come in here, I've got home inspection scheduled, hold the home inspection, termite inspection scheduled, have the termite inspection. If you need a pool or fireplace, provide contact to my insurance person, create a new purchase file with the office, send the ratified contract to the loan officer, turn in the EMD, discuss the home inspection, turn in the PICRA. You can add whatever other items and stuff. If you have an item you don't want on here, these 3 little dots, you can edit or delete. So I'm going to delete that test item because I don't need it. But you can add as many as you want and then save it. You see how I've got these client updates checked? That means that when I check it off in the opportunity, that the next day they're going to get the email that says this. So when let me show you real quick here. In Jeff, when he's actually closed, so I'll show you how to close him in a minute. But when I come in here and I'm in his opportunity, when I checked this off so that it was done, this client box is already checked. That means the next day it's gonna send an email, and it will say schedule home inspection as one of those check boxes. It's gonna put exactly what you write. So make sure it's spelled right. Think about what it says, you know. If I don't have this clicked, then it won't go anywhere, but you'll see when you click it, now it puts a line through it. So you know, and it changes and it says you got 6 of 13 done. This is your list to keep track of what you're doing. So that way you don't miss anything in your opportunity, okay? And again, Anthony had mentioned a while before, or had asked about, you can set a date. When you're in the actual individual opportunity, you can come in here and set a date for it. So I could say next, on the 13th at 10 a.m., that one's due. Now it's going to tell me I've got a due date for it. And that's also going to be put into the tasks area. So I'm going to have a reminder there that'll pop up on the 13th for me. Okay. And then if I don't know if I can remove that. I've never actually tried to remove I can go delete it in my tasks is what I can do. So, but you can see I came through and I clicked these off. When I did this, he got an email. Okay. And again, make sure that it's turned on. Let's go back to listings real quick. Okay, so just a minute ago, let's go here to the listings. A minute ago, when Laura was asking and we were in the edit stages and it had that probability, okay, they've already set the probabilities. You can change them if you want. You can leave them. You can't get rid of them. What it's doing is this. You remember how when we created the first opportunity and it said that it asked you to put in the amount, okay, like what the amount was going to be for the listing or the purchase price, okay? What it's doing is it's saying, okay, we're going to take all these and we're going to give you an idea of what you might be able to make. Okay, so in here, they've got their stages set so that if you're in pipeline, it's 2%. Active makes it 7%. When you get over here to the actual active, it's 70%. Under contract, it's 70%, 60%, 80%. Those numbers actually, what they're doing is they're going to pull in from, if you've got a $400,000 listing and then it moves it along, that's where it's saying how much potential and probable income you've got coming down the road. Okay, depending on how many of the opportunities you have, what the prices are, and more importantly, where they're at. Because over here on the left in these stages, the probability is much lower. When you get to active, or especially when you get to under contract, well, now your probabilities are going to become higher, and it's going to go from in potential income, which is over here, you got potential, and now you're going to be see probable. Okay, so that way it just gives you a little bit of an idea of where you're at. And whether it's with buyers or with sellers, you kind of know, okay, the more I move over here, the more likely it's going to have probable, and then that probable becomes something that's going to be in my pocket. So that's what that probability does from those edit stages areas from in here. Okay, I don't personally give a lot of weight to them, simply because, every deal is going to be different. What I will give weight to, and why I do like to see it, is the overall number. It shows me and it allows me to keep an eye on how am I tracking toward my goals for the year. Because if I know I've got, on this first page, if I know I've got, 15 grand of probable, and I'm still 30 grand short of where my goal is for the fourth quarter, well, then I know I need to find a couple more deals to make up that extra 15 grand. Okay. And now when I come in here once a day for 5 or 10 minutes, I'm looking every time at my cultivate and my appointments. How do I move these people over? Who do I need to call today? Who do I need to send a marketing piece to? Who do I need to, invite to a client event? Whatever the case may be, but how can I move these people into active? Because once they're here, you'll have a couple. I mean, this David's been in, and actually he's not in negotiations anymore. We're not. Now we're just searching. He's been searching for months. He's a struggle bus, and it's okay. And Edgar's kind of the same way, but, and I don't have I need to actually turn that on. So I'm glad I came in here. Client updates, I need to turn that on. I don't need to get two. For some reason, it'll put you as the assignee. Well, it always will put you as assignee and owner. Check one off, because otherwise you're going to get 2 emails. Okay. So you're going to have some that are going to sit around a lot. Others are going to whiz right through. As I said a minute ago, this buyer, you move them along. So my date, when I'm done, this one actually closed a couple weeks ago, and I just haven't moved him yet. So now I'm going to take him from, he's in under contract, I'm going to take him to closed. So I'm going to drop him into that. Now it's going to ask me what the date was. It's supposed to be the 12th, but we actually closed on the 22nd. I'd been so good all year. I'd had everyone on the actual date, and now my last 2, that one and this one this week, they're both closing late. So I don't know if that's something that's happening to everybody or not, but for me, my last 2 have been. And now you'll see that it has one that went over to closed. Once it's in closed, after I believe it's after 30 days, it will go out of there. It'll go to 0. But it'll always be available to you in your opportunities. Okay. So you can come back in here and you can see however many have been closed and when, and it'll, if it was prior to command, they brought them in, they just might be kind of a jumble of where they're at. But if you're brand new and you're starting out, they'll just all be in order from the last to the most recent. Okay. Now, let's where do I want to jump in. I'm going to jump into here. I want to finish talking about our tabs here, okay, because we've kind of jumped around a little bit. I know you guys have been asking, but let me take a second real quick and make sure. You've been asking questions. Are there any questions that you've seen, that you've had, that's from what we've seen so far, that didn't make sense, or anything before I keep going that we should take a second to stop on? You're good? Okay, cool. And actually, let's do this. It'll be a lot easier. So this is the one I made a little bit ago when we first started. I'm going to move this one into active. And actually, I want to move this one into under contract, because now that we're under contract, I need to put the documents in. Okay, so now I'm under contract. I need to actually upload my documents for my office to be able to, compliance wise, to be able to see them. Okay, so when you come in here, this is how it'll look when you haven't done anything to it yet. It's a brand new opportunity. You just got them under contract. When you come in here, it's not going to have anything. You're going to come here to this checklist type, and you're going to pick residential. Okay, and now you see this is now changed. You've got a few folders here. You've got your listed folder. That's the one we're in. And it's going to show all your documents that you have to have. Here's your required documents and your conditional documents. This is your listing agreement documents. When you get under contract with a buyer coming in to buy your listing, now you have a purchase agreement. And so you have an under contract folder. So there's 2 folders for listing. When you go to the buyer side and you're working with the buyer, you'll only have 1 folder and it'll just be the under contract. Okay, so sometimes that's a little bit confusing when people are first starting. When you've got the listing, you have to do 2 folders because you have 2 contracts. You have a listing contract and a purchase contract from that buyer coming in to buy it.
Hey, Jerry, you went under contract, and then what did you, after that, well, the status was under contract, then what was the next click that you made?
I got you. Give me 1 sec. Excuse me. Give me 1 second and Laura will come right back to you.
Okay.
So in here, I came into under contract. Now, this is my opportunity that I need to update. So I'm just clicking on the opportunity. And then I came to documents. Okay. And then once I was in here, I picked residential. And that now has all my folders here for me.
Okay, great,
Does that-
thank you.
Got it, Stan? Okay, great. Laura, you had a question?
Right, so the seller is doing 2 contracts. Does that mean that he's a dual agent? Or it's just, he just has to, the listing agent just has to do the buyer and the seller? Documents.
Yes, yeah, because you're listing it for them. So you have to have a listing agreement in place that puts the office, you've got an agency agreement with between the seller and the office. So that's one folder, that's the listed folder, and that's all these contracts.
Right.
And then after you've got that, you've got the buyer coming in, they've done their showing, they're going to send you their purchase agreement. You're going to work through it and then potentially ratify it. Once it's ratified, now you have a second contract that's the purchase contract itself.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I think so. So, because I was thinking that if it's a different buyer, I got it though, because it's your listing, you have to do both of them.
Yep, correct. So like with my buyer, so for David, when I come in here and I come to my documents, I'm only going to be filling in the under contract. There isn't a listing folder here. There's a consultation, which is empty, and that's really useless. But again, I don't design it. So,
Right.
but you're only going to have to do the under contract, because from the buyer side, you're only working with the buyer, and your buyer broker, the agreement you have with them is already down here.
Right.
It's already in this. So the buyer side one, you have your agreement with the buyer, but when you're doing the listing, you've got your agreement with the seller, and then you've got the seller and buyer agreement.
Right.
Yep. So you got two different ones.
But the agent on the other side is presenting you with the buyer documents.
Yeah.
And that's why and you're inputting them into our system.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
That under contract, the buyer documents are what's actually going to make the house sold.
Right.
Because you could have a listed, you can put all this in as soon as you do your listing. Maybe your listing doesn't sell.
Right.
Maybe it expires, or maybe your seller gets frustrated and they just withdraw. Okay, at that point, you're not going to have an under contract folder because there is no purchase agreement that's agreed to with a buyer.
Correct.
And then you're not getting paid either.
Yes.
That's the unfortunate part of the business. You got to go all the way. So, so yes, you're going to have 2 on the listing side. You're going to always have 2 folders. On the buyer side, you're only going to have the 1.
Gotcha.
Okay. And
Thank you.
again, all you do here, and because I didn't show you before, when you've got this, all you're doing here is you just click on your browse, and you're just gonna go find wherever you keep your documents. So this is let's do Sedley. So now I've got this offer. So now I'm putting in all the files that it's looking for. My MLS is right here. So I add that, and now you can see it added it. Okay. And then I can add, whatever else. Now here's a really cool, useful task. Very cool and useful. This may be the most useful piece of information in Command. So write it down. These 3 little dots right here. Okay, so you got these 3 little dots. If you click on it and you do split and attach a PDF. So let's say that somebody, you've got the listing and a buyer sends you their offer. And it is buyer pickup. This isn't a good one. Let me find a different one. Sorry. Let's say it's all in one PDF. So I've got one here that's counter offer ratified. There we go. So this is going to be my ratified package, but this is going to have everything all in one PDF. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add that PDF with all those documents. I'm going to hit next. And now what this does is this is going to show me all the pages to everything. And I can click on them and see what the page number is. I can scroll through and kind of see what they are. So here's the start of my purchase agreement. Okay, so it goes from page 3 to page 17, I believe. Yeah, page 17. So what I'm going to do is on this side, I'm going to put well, let's fake it. I'm putting the wrong ones in here, but that's okay. You can see the process. I'm gonna say that this is the listing agreement, and I'm putting it from 3 to 17. And so then I put this is how I do. I put the address, list agreement. And then on here, I'm going to say maybe this is my SAER. And so now let's say that's 18 to 20. So then SAER. And now I'm going to add another thing. And now let's say that the next one is the data input. And I'll put that as 21 to 26. Data input. You guys see what I'm doing here? I'm adding the pages. I'm seeing which ones are over here. Let's say this is, I think that's on here. Do I have a D4? Yeah, D4. So I actually matched one of them up correctly, 24. You can do this to the whole package or just 2 pages. It's up to you, okay? Maybe we'll just do one more here. We'll say that this is our CDIF. We'll say that's 25 to 29. 29. Once I've actually put all of these in that I want, and just so you know, if you add one accidentally, this is very not intuitive. If you add one accidentally and you don't want to add it, you actually want to take it off, hover over the number and you'll see this little negative sign. If you click on it, it will get rid of it. So like if I want to get rid of that one, I just click on it. Now it's gone. Okay. It's not intuitive, but if you hover over that, you can get rid of it. Now, when I hit split and attach, what that's doing is it's going ahead and splitting it. And you see how it's adding it here? it's instead of it being the whole package, and instead of you having to go to another place and split PDFs, you can just do it right here and it'll add them in for you. Okay. And then that way you've got all your documents in here. If you click on it, you'll see this is the pages that you would pick for your CDIF. If it's wrong, then you can delete it, and then you can remove it and then add it again. Okay. Once you have all of your documents in here that are required and or conditional, then you hit submit to MC, submit to your market center. Okay. Let's say that you want to turn this in. How long do we have to turn in our EMD?
Is it 3 days or 1 day? Is it 3 days?
Well, I guess technically it might be different by office. Our office is 48 hours. So, and I believe they go by business days. So 2 business days. Okay. What if you're putting this together and you don't have the EMD yet? Well, you can still submit it. There's nothing wrong with that. Just add a comment and say, I don't have the EMD. I'll add it as soon as I have it. Okay. You can still submit it. They will return it to you. It will not get accepted, but they'll return it and they'll say, you need to have your EMD. We know you're getting it. But at least that way, if you want to put it in, you can. Or you can wait the 48 hours, get the EMD, and then submit it all at once. But either way, you submit to MC. When you do this, you can do that for the listed once it's live, okay? The under contract, whether you have the buyer or the seller, the under contract, you submit this within 48 hours with the EMD, or 2 business days, I should say. And then as soon as you've submitted the under contract, then you're going to come into the offers and commissions. Okay. You don't go in there with the listed. It's when you do the under contract, when there's actually a buyer that's ratified on whether it's your listing or your buyer, when there's a buyer that's ratified, that's when you come into offers and commissions. And what you do is you come in here and you're going to add a new offer. And what you're going to add is this offer so that you can, what this is doing is setting it up so the office knows what you're supposed to get paid and when. This is so they can track your numbers. So let's say I just put this under contract today and it's going to be November 8th is our closing date. Now I'll put my wife's name. She buys a lot of property, it seems like. I'll put myself, I'm going to be dual agent on this one just because. In here, you're going to put the sales price based on how much there's cash and financing. Let's say that it's 400,000 and I'm going to put 320 because it's an investment. So I'm going to put 80 down. So now I got 400 price. For my earnest money, I'll do 4,000. You can fill in these if you want to. If there's other information, you can put it in. This agent analysis, you can put pros and cons and do a little summary. The reason you would do this is you can turn around and make an offer sheet that you can share with your seller. So let's say you had multiple offers. You can put in all the multiple offers and they can be able to see all of them side by side with the analysis. Okay. Once you save, now I've got to keep moving my Zoom boxes around so I can see here. There we go. Now, if everything's right and this is the one that you're moving forward with, you hit accept. And if it's not, then you went with another one, you hit reject. And you can always add a new offer because you can have the multiple offers. Okay. If this was the right one, I would hit accept. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm not accepting it because that's a fake one. Go in here. So now in your commissions, now in here, it's going to have your information. Okay. And you can edit, like I've already turned mine in, so I can't edit it. But at the time that before you've hit submit, you can still edit this and make sure that all the dates and the price, your commission might change. Okay. This person already bought with me. So because of that, I took a little bit off of my commission on the sell side because I've already gotten paid once working with them. Okay. If you need to add an agent, so like let's say that you're gonna have that I've got this as a referral from my Atlanta partner. Well, at that point, I might need to come in here and I might need to add that they're going to get a 25% referral fee. Okay. You'll see your breakdown of what's left on your cap and your royalty. If you have any left on there, if you don't, then those will be zero and you'll be getting 100%. If you do, it'll tell you how much is there. And then it's all broken down so that you can see what you're going to get. And then you hit submit. Now I've already submitted, so I can't edit any of this stuff. If I have a change, let's say that something happened. Everything happens in real estate. Let's say something happened and I have to, change this, like I said, she already bought with me, so I had reduced my commission a little bit on the sell side. Well, let's say that just to make the deal happen, I need to make that 2.25 instead of 2.5. I can't edit that here. You're going to have to reach out to your MCA and talk to them and just say, hey, I need to make this change. I've already got it done with an addendum so that the title company or attorney knows what's the correct amount to pay me. But you need to make sure that if you have any changes on these after it's submitted, that you're letting your office know so that they know the appropriate course of action. Whether it's because if they get a commission check that's for 2.25%, and they see it's supposed to be 2.5, they're going to be coming back at me and going back at the title company saying, where's the money? Why don't we have the right amount? Okay. So you need to be in touch with people. So we do the documents. Once we have the under contract done and the under contract is put in and updated, then commissions get added. Okay. Anthony, I know you had jumped off for a second there. I just want to make sure. Did you see the split and attach area when we were doing this a second ago?
No, I didn't. I had a call I had to take. I'll figure that one out. I'll watch the video again.
So I just want to point it out to you. That'd be great. If you want to watch it, we're at about just before the 90-minute mark on the video. And okay. Split and attach PDF. It's the biggest time saver that you will have in Command by far.
When I'm uploading documents. Okay.
Yep. Split and attach in documents. When they put this in about nine months ago, is right around the beginning of the year, man, there was a collective sigh of relief across everybody that uses Command because it just saves time. So I just wanted to point that out because I did see that you had jumped off for a minute. So
yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. So we've gone through these first ones. On this tab here, you can keep notes. Why would you keep notes?
In case of a complaint.
That's a man who's been around real estate. So yes, in case there's some kind of, if you have a difficult client, if you have a difficult transaction, could be from the agent on the other side. It could be from the client on the other side. There's a lot of different reasons. You want to document everything. I'm not an overly litigious person, but there are people that will want to sue about every single thing that they can think of. And it's best to have documentation to show why and how you did things. This would be one place that you could come. And I'll be honest with you, I've not had a transaction or a client that I've had to, where I felt that I've had to do this. I use this for notes occasionally, but if I felt I had to, this is where I would come and I would add a note of, need to keep track of things because my client is a pain in the ass. Stuff to track. Okay. So I've saved a note. I've got the note here. That's all great and everything. We click over this timeline. This timeline is everything that's done in here. And this is not just you. This is compliance related as well. So you can see that on September 22nd at 9:52, my assistant team leader came in and they reviewed my contract, did the compliance review, and they approved it. Okay. Anything that's done in command, I came in and I moved stuff. This is where I moved from under contract to under contract appraisal. I went from the HOA, POA docs to the appraisal. I moved from one phase to another. It tagged it. It was a pipeline thing. In my details, I came in and I updated a status. I moved my pipeline there. I had a checklist item that I knocked off. Okay. Anything that you do in here is going to be tagged. They have to keep records. Well, if you have notes of things, if there's a difficult client or a difficult transaction, and especially if you ever get to the point that you think somebody might end up having a complaint against you, whether it's to the state board or a legal complaint to the legal system, I strongly recommend that you go ahead and keep notes because they're going to stay in here, and that would be your paper trail or digital trail, I guess we would call it now. Okay, so that's your timeline. What questions do we have at this point?
Does this keep you from having to turn in all the paperwork later? Is this an ongoing paper submission system so that the MC has everything?
Correct. Everything is going to be in here. So in your documents, when you've got your listed documents, everything that the office requires, everything that's conditional is going to be right in here. If you want to add your own folder, so I've done this in the past. I haven't fully incorporated it into Command, but you're absolutely welcome to. You can make a folder here, and that could be where you put your home inspection report. If you're on the seller side, maybe, or I'm sorry, if you're on the buyer side, maybe you put the appraisal when you get a copy of that. Things like that might come in handy when maybe 7 years from now, when that buyer decides that they want to sell and upgrade to another house. Now you're getting ready for that listing appointment with that buyer that you helped 7 years ago. It'd be great to come back in here and take a look at what they had on their home inspection. Was that HVAC unit already 15 years old? Have they updated it since then, or is it now 22 years old? I ran into that last week. Look at the appraisal, see what the actual square footage was. You know, you can use this as your holding area for documents, for anything related to the contract. I'm just looking through. I'm looking through everything that I have, and for some reason, we went faster than normal. Usually this takes me about an hour and 50 minutes, but we're at about an hour 35. So I'd absolutely like, I mean, I've already gone through everything that we normally go through. Is there anything that you want me to circle back to that I went a little too fast and you need to see again?
I'm curious, you said that that when you can like cut and edit PDFs, you said it saved a lot of time. I'm curious why. What was the path before?
Everybody's got a different one. For me, it's I mean, I've got full version of Adobe, so I would just open it there and delete and whatever. It's not like it didn't save me a ton of time personally. It was an ease factor because I don't have to leave command. I just do it in there now instead of doing it somewhere else, saving it, and then having to bring it in again.
And what documents are you eliminating in that process? Like, what's an example?
So like the file that I just opened up when we were doing it, they had all kinds. Well, I guess maybe the better way to put this is if they send all the documents in one, but they're in the wrong order, then first of all, previously we didn't have any way to cut it, so you'd have to go separate them. Like we used to previously have to upload them basically, wow, that's the wrong one. Basically all individually. So we would have to do all these individually, and if they sent them all in one document, which is the easier way to do it and cleaner way, well, then we'd have to go cut them out. And it wasn't, for me, it wasn't that much, but I know for people that aren't technologically savvy, it was an extremely laborious thing to do. If I'm guessing from the way you're asking it, it doesn't seem like it's that much of a time saver, so you probably already know how to do it.
No, I guess I'm just does Keller Williams want things in a specific order when we submit, or I'm just kind of missing
that. No, I wasn't looking at it from that angle. Gotcha. So it'll depend on your office whether you have this option or not. My office has an option, and we put it in here, that you can put the complete listing package in one file. So like you don't actually, I wasn't even going to show you that, but that's a good question because your office could do that. But if you do put it in this way, it has to be in a specific order. Okay? Because the reason being, you and we're only looking at one or two opportunities. You know, if we're a really busy agent and we've got 5 or 6 deals at once, then, you know, maybe we've got a handful. But the office every day is looking at dozens and dozens of opportunities for the whole. We got 200 agents in our office. If, you know, 40% of them have an active deal right now, and out of that 40%, so that's 80 people. If out of those 80, half of them have 3 or more deals, well, now that's 40 times 3 is 120 plus the other 40. That's 160 deals that are actively moving around that the office has to track. They don't want your package to come in and the pages being in all different order, and then they got to sit there and sift through it. They want to say, okay, you have to turn it in. If the pages are out of order, we're sending it right back. So in that scenario, moving things around, it's probably a little bit easier. From the cutting up the PDF, it doesn't save you a ton of time if you know what you're doing, but there are a lot of people that I've dealt with that just don't know how to do it, and this saves them a lot of time.
Yeah, I come from a brokerage where order, and then we're talking about order of like contract addendums.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I come from a brokerage where that it wasn't a focus. It could be all out of order. So that's what was where I was confused.
Gotcha. Yeah. Here it's easy. If you're just doing them as the cut and paste, or I'm sorry, the split and attach, if you're just doing that, or if your documents are all, like, some people just send them all individual anyways. And if that's the case, then you're just putting them in where they fit, and you don't even have to worry about the order because it's done for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, oh, absolutely.
So if no one has any questions,
go ahead.
on this, I'd like to go back to that where I've put in the wrong lead or whatever for the client. So actually the client, using the analogy, I think it was of Anthony, as a prospect, as opposed to a lead, because I have them on a smart plan also. So can I still change that in their file?
Yeah, so if you have somebody that's just marked as a lead, and you're talking about like here in their contacts, they've got the L beside their name, where they're like a lead.
Let me look. It doesn't have, hold on. Yes.
Okay, you just click on their, you can just click on their name so that it goes into their contact card.
Okay, all right, we go back one step. Okay, click on their name. Okay, click on the
And
pencil.
And no, you don't even have to do that. Just right below their name and below that health score, just unclick the mark as lead.
Okay.
And now they won't be marked as a lead anymore.
Okay, great.
And yeah, and that's just, I mean, in this case, Chad, I mean, he shouldn't be a lead anymore because I put him as a lead so that I could have him go through my system in the reporting area and be able to show that I had a lead that then I turned into a prospect, into a client, and what their timing was for everything. But now he's already closed, so I should have marked him off as a lead a long time ago. So it's really easy, and it's easy to forget, is my point.
Okay, so should I put them as a prospect or something like that, or just?
It's up to you. I mean, you can, it's whatever system works best for you. You can tag them in here in their contact card as whatever you, if you want them, you know, he bought with me and then sold with me.
Okay, so I have a buyer.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
so you can
just
put them
fine.
as,
Just leave it like that and leave
it-
the smart plan working the way it's working and everything, correct?
yeah, I mean, as long as it's a smart plan that fits them, correct.
Right. You know,
it doesn't, I mean, prospects and leads at that point, a lot of smart plans are just going to overlap anyways.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back and look at their smart plan, but I think it was like a once a month touch.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I just actually went in last night because I've got a client event coming up next week, and I was reaching out to people, and I just remembered that, hey, they just sold their house. They'd already bought a couple months ago, and I needed to update their address so that their monthly nurture could be set.
Right.
Because they're on my post-closing smart plan right now, and at the end of the post-closing smart plan, it kicks them into a monthly nurture smart plan, and I need to have their address set for that. So I just added all these yesterday. You can see October 5th. Was that yesterday? Yeah. And I just added their neighborhoods, and I added them to their post-closing smart plan.
Right. Okay.
So you just,
I had a question.
sure.
So, like you got this guy open right here. What's a good dialogue? And if you scroll down a little bit to the neighborhoods, because I'm really intrigued by this whole neighborhood, and they've got a spot on your website of where they live. What's a good dialogue you use to get people to say, hey, I'm going to set you up with a neighborhood search, and you're going to get this click, and it's only about your neighborhood and the surrounding. I mean, that's probably what you say. But when you introduce that to them about the app, because in the past, when I've had apps to share, I've had the challenge of people not wanting to really get the app, but yet it's very powerful. So do you just like, hey, I'd like to add you to my list and put in your neighborhood. Would you be open to getting emails about your neighborhood? I guess that's it, right?
It could, yeah. I mean, it's simple, like what you just said, simple as that. I think I'd probably work out my wording to be a little bit more inclusive of, I want to share with you what's going on around your neighborhood. Instead of like not even mentioning app or email, I think just like, are you okay if I occasionally share information about your neighborhood? what's going on with the sales in your neighborhood, something like that. Because it takes, like this one, the neighborhood nurture, whether you're doing it bi-weekly or monthly, that's just an email that's coming to them.
Yeah.
And they can click on it or not click on it. The nice thing is when they do click on it, you're seeing what they're doing. Let me try to think of who I know that just did one. Somebody just did one. Maybe it was Anna. She probably hasn't done. Okay, so here. So like the last month, she hasn't opened any, but back at the end of October, when she got hers, I can see that she went into each of these neighborhoods. I can see she opened this specific house. So I can kind of tell. And she viewed a neighborhood. Like it looks like maybe not every single email. Well, a couple of these were not, these were different. This was like, this was a listing email, not just a nurture email. But you can see when she does open them, what they're doing. And that's the point, is for you to be able to have an interaction with them I mean, if she goes 6 months and doesn't open one, and then all of a sudden she's starting to look at stuff, that tells me I need to have a call with her.
Okay, so is this both on the desktop and the phone and the app? So if she viewed the neighborhood, is that only tracking what she does on the app, or is that also tracking what she did
I see
through
what
an
you're
email
saying.
she received?
So if you're, I want to answer this the right way, so I just got to think about it for 1 second. From the nurture, the smart plans that you're sending with the neighborhood nurture, that is only going to come to them as an email, so it'll only be seen as opening through a website. Even if they're on their phone, that's going to open their website.
Okay.
Okay. And that's what I'm seeing here. She was probably on her phone. She's very phone heavy. So she was probably on her phone when she opened these. She just got my email, clicked on it, and it opened a Chrome browser probably. And then she, or if she's on iPhone, Safari browser, she probably went through and clicked on stuff, and that's where I see it.
And now I see that underneath that view listing of Fairway Drive, it says it was viewed under the smart plan.
Correct. Yep.
Versus the neighborhood she viewed, I guess, through the website.
Now, the neighborhood is, these are all part of the smart plan. I'm honestly not quite sure why the neighborhood doesn't say that, because these are all one email, and I have these neighborhoods tagged. So I got Wedgewood, Fairway Villas, and hers is Greenbrier, or Greenwood at Greenbrier. So she's seeing these, and then she picked on, a specific house. Those are all from the same email.
Got it.
Okay. Now, to answer your question a little, as fully as I can, if they have your app, and I actually had somebody that I just highlighted her during our team meeting on Tuesday. We had a new agent that she took the landing page for her app. She made a QR code. She put that QR code on the back of her business card. So it's on every business card that she has. And she gave that business card to somebody at the post office. And that person at the post office scanned her QR code, started looking at her app, and she got it from her directly from her QR code. So it's attached to her as her being the agent. Well, once she did this, it put her contact automatically into the CRM, and she could see all of the houses here that she on her phone through the app she was looking at. And she came to me and she was like, "What is this? Why who is this person?" I'm like, it must be someone from your QR code that you've been doing. And they looking at it. She called them up, and it found out how she got it, it was through somebody that she had left it with at the post office, and now that's her first buyer.
Cool.
So you can see those things from the app in here as well. That's my point, is you can see both of them. It's just they're going to be different because this one's going to come in and you're going to see it and it's going to say it's from the smart plan. The other one's going to show up and it's going to look more like it's a collection. I might have it. I might actually be able to show you that. Let me find Shay from last year. So this is one for me last year. She found my yeah, right here. So you'll see that she started making favorites in her, like within a collection on the app. And so I could see all the houses she was looking at. And this is through the app. The other one that we were just looking at was through the website. So they will both show up. They're a little bit different, and they're a little bit different how you get to them. But either way, getting them to look at those nurtures, which is easy. You send it to them. Most people that own a house, and that's most of the people who you're going to send that nurture to, is somebody that owns a house. They're going to want to know what their neighborhood's like. What's my neighborhood selling for? They always want to know that. The app, it's man, they jump in. You can see she's got tons of houses that she was looking at and making changes to. They really dig in when they're in the app. So it's good to try and get them involved. It is harder, like you said, though, with that conversation of, can I send you my app, this and that. The easier one is, can I keep you informed about your neighborhood, about the prices in your neighborhood? Do you mind getting that information, once a month? And at that point, if they say sure, I'm not telling them I'm sending them an email or whatever. It's I'm just doing it, and then because they've said yes
To a smart plan.
to a smart plan, correct?
Yeah.
And then I'm following up after the first one or two goes. If I see that they haven't opened it, I'm going to follow up and say, hey, I know we had that conversation. You said, sure, I'd be glad to get information about my neighborhood. I know I've sent a couple. Have you had a chance to look at them? Prompt them to look at it. If they open it right away and they're looking at it, then, maybe you don't have to, especially if they're not someone that's, because they might not be the one selling. It might be their next door neighbor. They're like, oh, if you call them up and stay in touch. Oh yeah, I looked at it. My neighbor said they might be selling soon. And so I was just looking to see what the prices were, because you keep sending this to me. Oh, well, do you know if your seller's already got an agent? Can I get their number? Could you connect me? What's their name? What's their address? I'll go over there, knock on their door, whatever the case may be. Good question though.
Thanks.
Any other questions about anything command related, I guess? Okay, then let's do this. Give me a couple of ahas from today. What ahas did we have from opportunities?
I liked the to-do lists, the setting up to-do lists for each of the stages. I think that's a great way to stay organized and, keep track of what you need to do for each stage of going through the opportunity.
Absolutely. Checklists are awesome. And I believe I'll put in case you don't get it, I'll put in my email in the chat. You can email me tomorrow or over the weekend if you don't, but I believe in today's wrap-up email from David, the regional director, you should get a checklist. I believe it's George Kelly's checklist from New Jersey, and it will have buyer and seller side, and it will have tons of things in there. So if you're new, you're probably going to see things in there. You're gonna be like, what the hell is this? I never thought of that. If you're experienced, you might even say the same thing. Or you might say, I don't need that. And you can say, but some of these other things are good, and make your own checklist from it. Now you still have to input them, but at least this will give you a kind of a guide rail to start with. And like I said, if you should be getting that in the email, if you don't get that from today or tomorrow, then shoot me an email and I'll send it to you. What other ahas do we have today?
The steps to creating the opportunities, that was helpful because I have to, I actually did one while you were talking about it, and I have another one to put in there as well. So
Awesome.
it's helpful.
Great. Let's get one more. I like to get 3.
It's all inclusive. I mean, I really like, I hadn't noticed about as they click your emails and look at the app, the app is hand in glove with the website.
Mhm.
And when you get deeper into this business, that's just great to have in one portal. Here's everything your client has been doing and receiving versus I'm in my Outlook, I'm on my Gmail, I'm in my personal folder, I'm in my iCloud. I'm like, it's right there. I really like that.
Yep, absolutely. And you can see in there that when I send emails from command, it's automatically connecting it in there so that it knows that it's there. I believe we're supposed to be getting it back to the point where if you have your KW email set up and that's what you're using. So like if you have, Anthony Carr at kw.com, that's run through Gmail, through the G Suite, and they're supposed to be connecting that at some point to where you be able to see all the emails you send in your command as well. So all your Gmail stuff would be in command as well. It just makes it a one-stop shop. So great. That's awesome.
Now, I have another question because
Okay.
my Gmail account, well, I was with another brokerage. I am still with another brokerage, but that's in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Okay. And my email keeps bringing up that company as opposed to KW. Like I can't get KW and my calendar and stuff really working without the interference of
Okay.
the other company.
I would suggest go to your MCTT in your office and bring your computer and ask them, get a time with them and ask them if they can help you with that.
Okay.
I use Outlook. I have a paid, branded account like through Outlook. So I don't use Gmail.
Okay.
I have a personal account, but I really don't use that much either. So I don't know that I would have a good answer for you, even if we did, but I would rely on your MCTT in your office, wherever you're at, and see if they can help you with that one. Because that should be something that should be able to,
Straight
we
down.
don't just do command only, but that's our focus.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, then I appreciate your guys' time. I guess I did babble on for the last 20 minutes, so we filled up the 2 hours. So good luck. I think that you're off to a good start. For the couple of you that are in my office tomorrow, I'll be sending you a link today because we will do a different, we don't, down here in Hampton Roads, we don't do DocuSign. So I know Erica and Amy, I'll be sending you guys an email for something else. For the rest of you tomorrow, if you're not in Hampton Roads, tomorrow will be DocuSign and how everything links up through command. So you guys can be able to go through that class. I think with Scotty, I'm not positive. And then again, if you got questions or anything, always feel free to reach out to your MCTT in your office and David, the regional director. And otherwise, I wish you well and good luck, and hopefully command makes your life a little bit easier and your job a little bit better.
Hey, Jerry.
Thanks a lot, Trey.
Yes.
I don't use DocuSign either. I'm in Hampton Roads as well. I'm just at a different KW. Is there any way you could send me that as well? Jen Williams at kw.com.
I would prefer not to, only because I go over things that are specific to our office, and I don't want to teach you something that's not what's appropriate for your office. So,
Okay.
So
It was a little different.
my suggestion would be to see if your MCTT has anything that they would like to go over, or answer any questions for you. I just I do it for my office only because we don't do the DocuSign, and we do some things that are just a little different in our office.
You guys use Broker Mint?
I don't know what that is, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. Okay, then. Well, thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
No
Sorry, my
problem.
camera's
Sorry
broken,
about
so
that.
I'm not sitting here with my back to you. My camera is broken, so
I appreciate that. No problem.
have a great day.
You too. Thanks, guys. Everyone have a good day.
Mhm.
Bye.
Thank you.